Recording in progress.
So, hello everyone. Good morning to all. Uh, just confirm me once that my voice is audible. Just confirm me once that my voice is audible. Okay. So, today we are going to start our discussion on a very important topic, that is GSTR 9 and 9C. We all know that in current scenario in recent time, this is the very hot topic because we all need to file our GSTR 9 and 9C by 31st December. Okay. As we all know, we all are going to file the GSTR 9 and 9C since last 4 to 5 years. Okay. But the question is that हम लोग कैसे उस रिटर्न को, how we can file the GSTR 9 and 9C in a proper way. Okay. That is what is the thing we are going to discuss in this course. Okay. As well as we are going to discuss on certain technical terms. Okay. Because कई बार क्या होता है, बेसिकली अगर मैं बात करूं इन केस ऑफ जीएसटीआर 9 एंड 9C, तो उसके अंदर है क्या, कंसोलिडेशन ही तो है. Whatever data I had filed in my GSTR 3B and GSTR 1 return, I just need to reconcile the data. I just need to consolidate the data, and I just need to put that data in the GSTR 9 and 9C. That is what is the role of GSTR 9 and 9C. But the problem is that how we are going to put the data, what are the relevant column and what are the relevant tab in which we need to put the data, how we can make the calculation of different aspects, how we need to consolidate the data, how we need to reconcile the data. All those things we are going to discuss in this 2 days course. Okay. So we'll discuss each and everything while filing the GSTR 9 and 9C. If you found any issue, then you may connect with me over WhatsApp. Will provide you the solution in the reasonable time. Okay. So we'll discuss complete thing related to 9 and 9C, as well as will provide you these notes on your mail ID. So one more thing is there, I just want that this session should be interactive. If I have any question, then there is chat box. I will ask you the questions. You just need to put in the chat box that the answer is that. Okay. And if you have any question, if you have any doubt, if you have any point, in that case immediately ask that question in the chat box. Don't wait for the last moment. Okay. सो मैं ये चाहता हूं कि जब कोई पॉइंट चल रहा हो उसी टाइम अगर कोई क्वेश्चन या फिर डाउट आपके दिमाग में आए, in that case you are free to ask that question in the chat box. The mode of communication of this webinar will be Hindi and English both. Okay. So if you found any issue with English, in that case you just need to comment in the chat box. I will convert that matter into Hindi as well. And अगर मैंने कोई एग्जांपल यहाँ पर हिंदी में ले लिया, if I taken any example in Hindi language and you want that in English, in that case you just need to comment in the chat box. I will convert the same into English language. The recording of this webinar, the recording of this course will be provided. The recording of this course will be provided to you over your registered mail ID. So there is no requirement to record this video locally. Okay. So now I am going to start the session. First, we are going to discuss certain basic points regarding annual return and 9C. That is how we are going to ready ourselves. What are the relevant data we need to kept with us before filing the GSTR 9 and 9C? What are the relevant reconciliations we need to prepare? Okay. All these concepts ko I have given one name, that is annual closing from GST perspective. Because we all know that we had already done the annual closing from income tax perspective when we had filed our income tax audit report. Now this is the time to do the annual closing from GST perspective, because we need to file the GST R9 and 9C. And one more important thing, we need to make our maximum adjustment in our September or October month GSTR 1 and 3B. Don't wait for the 9 and 9C. Okay. Because we all know there are certain complexities. If we are going to make any adjustment in GSTR 9 and 9C instead of the return, to September or October month, in that case, there are certain restrictions. Okay, so we'll discuss on that. So first, I just want to clear the basic part that what data is required to file the 9 and 9C, what reconciliations are required, and how we can make the necessary adjustments in our September and October month return. And after that, we'll start our discussion on the GSTR 9 and 9C. We had one e-guide on GSTR 9 and 9C. We'll provide you the same over your mail ID. So, अभी आपको कोई टेंशन नहीं लेने का है रिगार्डिंग नोट्स. आपकी स्क्रीन पे है, आप मोबाइल पे देख रहे हैं, आप स्क्रीन पे देख रहे हैं, लैपटॉप पे देख रहे हैं. ये स्क्रीन आपके सामने है. I just want to request you, if you found any point, you just need to note it down in your notes book, so that when you are going to do the practical work, when you are going to file the practical returns, that will be very much helpful for you. Okay, so first point. And sir, after each and every discussion, I will ask you certain points that this point is okay for you, this topic is okay for you or not. So this is your responsibility. You just need to put in the chat box that our concept is clear, so that the my concept will be clear that we are going in a right direction. Okay, so now know these things before filing your annual return. कुछ ऐसी चीजें हैं जो हमें पता होनी चाहिए. We need to know about certain things before filing the annual return, that is GSTR 9 and 9C. Okay, I am not going to talk about the applicability of 9 and 9C because I know that we all are much more efficient to discuss on that part. Okay, or if required, we'll discuss later on. Okay, because 2 crore and 5 crore, two limits are there. If your turnover is 2 crore or more, in that case GSTR 9 is applicable, and if your turnover is 5 crore or more, in that case GSTR 9C annual reconciliation will also be applicable, but there is no requirement of any audit. Okay, there is no requirement of any autograph of the chartered accountant or cost management accountant. The autograph of taxpayer is sufficient in case of GSTR 9C. So now, and sir, one more important thing, your GSTR 9 and 9C plays a very important role, because at the time of business audit, at the time of litigation, department is first go through with your GSTR 9 and 9C and the audit report. And based on that, they are going to demand certain documents. So अगर आप लोगों ने 9 और 9C परफेक्ट वे में फाइल किए हुए हैं, तो वो चकरा जाएगा कि मैं मांगू क्या इससे, बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज शोइंग ओके एंड परफेक्ट. और अगर हमारे 9 एंड 9C में कोई इशू हुआ तो उसको कई सारी चीजें मिल जाती है आस्क करने के लिए. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो एन अ पॉइंट, वी नीड टू फाइल अवर 9 एंड 9C वेरी केयरफुली. And this is my assurance to you, after this session your concept will be clear about the GSTR 9 and 9C. Now, certain things we need to know before filing the annual return. First, prepare the annual reconciliations. We all know that GST is the world of reconciliations. ओके हमको रिकंसिलेशन ही, कभी इनपुट का रिकंसिलेशन है, कभी आउटपुट का रिकंसिलेशन है, आरसीएम रिलेटेड रिकंसिलेशन है, वेरियस रूल के रिवर्सल रिलेटेड रिकंसिलेशन है. सो बी रेडी विद द reconciliations before filing the annual return, so that when you will put the data in the GSTR 9 and 9C and your reconciliations with you, in that case you can easily put the data in the GSTR 9 and 9C. Because one accountant can file the GSTR 9 and 9C. There is no any rocket science in 9 and 9C. But the point is that how we are going to technically proper way में file कर रहे हैं उस GSTR 9 and 9C को, that is what is the point. And as a professional, this is our responsibility. So for that purpose, the first part is that we need to have our annual reconciliations related to input, output and RCM related calculations. Analyze the audit report of the party. जैसा कि मैंने बोला, जब आपकी डिपार्टमेंटल ऑडिट आएगी या फिर एट द टाइम ऑफ लिटिगेशन और एट द टाइम ऑफ business audit, they are first going to analyze your GSTR 9 and 9C and your audit report. So at the time of 9 and 9C, we can also check the audit report that as per the profit and loss account, there is no any certain term, that is no any income on which GST has not been paid by the taxpayer. There is no any expenditure on which RCM is applicable and not paid by the taxpayer. There is no any difference between the closing balance of input tax credit which is showing in the books of accounts and which is available on the GSTN common portal. So these are the basic things we need to analyze from the audit report. Next, reconcile the sales from the audit report. As we all know that when we are going to do the income tax audit, we are reconciling that figure that as per the turnover as per the audit report and turnover as per the GST record. So when we are going to prepare ourselves for filing the GSTR 9 and 9C, in that case, we need to compare that sales. That sales is matching with the audit report and the GST records turnover. Most important thing, go with the previous financial year GSTR 9 and 9C. As we all know that when I am going to file my GSTR 9 and 9C, and if there is any adjustment which I had done into the next financial year, in that case we are showing the same in the GSTR 9 and 9C. So for that purpose we need to check the previous financial year 9 and 9C as well. जब हम उन 9 and 9C को देखेंगे, in that case we get that idea that there is an adjustment regarding input and output we had already done in the current financial year. So this is the difference and this is the reason. रिकंसिलिएशन में, करंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर के रिकंसिलिएशन में कोई डिफरेंस आ रहा है, सो फर्स्ट वी नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई द प्रीवियस ईयर GSTR 9 and 9C so that we get all the idea about that adjustment as well. Also one important thing, prepare the reconciliation from April 23 to September 23. Sir, as we all know, related to financial year 22-23, as per section 16 subsection 4, the maximum timeline allowed it for the adjustment is 30th November or annual return की date, whichever is earlier. So for that purpose we need to check कहीं उस relevant financial year से related any input or output related adjustment the taxpayer has done during the current financial year, we need to check the same, and for that purpose we need to check the GSTR 1 and 3B for April 23 to September 23. We can check the consolidated figure, we can check the monthly figure. This is based on our working. So these are the point we need to know before filing the annual return. Okay, so just comment me in the chat box that these points are okay for you. So that we can start our discussion on the next para. सर अभी तो हम लोग केवल हमारा बेस डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, फिर हम लोग 9 and 9C पर भी बहुत ही डिटेल्ड वे के अंदर यहां पर डिस्कस करने वाले हैं. So now सूरज जी इज आस्किंग रिकंसिलिएशन फ्रॉम अप्रैल टू नवंबर और अप्रैल टू सितंबर. सर नवंबर तक का तो कोई रिकंसिलिएशन होगा नहीं, रिकंसिलिएशन होगा अक्टूबर मंथ के रिटर्न तक. ओके, बट वी आर डूइंग दिस सेशन in the month of October itself, so I am using the word that you need to prepare the reconciliation from April to September so that you got that idea that if there is any input claim is missing or any output which has not been adjusted, in that case you can make the adjustment in October month itself so that आपको 9 and 9C के अंदर उसके एडजस्टमेंट नहीं करने पड़ेंगे. फॉर दैट पर्पस आई हैड यूज्ड द वर्ड दैट इज अप्रैल टू सितंबर मंथ. ओके, जब हम एनुअल रिटर्न फाइल करेंगे एट दैट टाइम वी आर डूइंग द रिकंसिलिएशन फ्रॉम अप्रैल टू अक्टूबर मंथ. ओके, नो मानसी जी, नवंबर रिटर्न नहीं है, 30th November इज द डेट. ओके, सो द डेट इज 30th November. सो for October month the due date is 20th November. If you are going to file your October month return delayed, in that case you have the maximum timeline till 30th November. Till 30th November you can claim the input tax credit and you can adjust the output tax, but as per the due date, the October month return due date is 20th November. Is that okay, Mansi ji, for you? Okay, so now next point we have, show your adjustment related to financial year 22-23 September and October month. Okay, now we are going to discuss that what are the adjustment. Sir, in this course we are going to discuss about 9 and 9C, but before moving on that particular topic, I just want to discuss the base of 9 and 9C, and I just want to discuss the adjustment which we can make in our September or October month return. Okay, so that we can take the benefit. Now, as we all know, this is the last call. That is, September and October month is the last call to make the adjustment related to financial year 22-23. Because after that, if you want to make any adjustment, in that case, you need to take the help of GSTR 9 and 9C. सर 9 एंड 9C में भी कर लेंगे, क्या नुकसान है यहाँ पर? सो द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट सपोज फॉर योर फाइनेंशियल ईयर 22-23 one sales that is 50,000 is missing, okay, and you had not make that adjustment of that 50,000 sales in the October month return till the October month return, and you are going to put the same in the GSTR 9. Suppose counterparty is also a registered person. In that case, when you are going to pay the tax through form GSTR 9, in that case, counterparty will cannot claim the input tax credit. That is what is the point. For that purpose, I am saying that we need to make the adjustment related to input and output in our September or October month. फिर भी रह जाए, in that case, we are going to adjust the same in our GSTR 9 return, but we need to try our best that we need to prepare all the reconciliations before filing the October month return. Show your cumulative output adjustment in your GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. Suppose financial year 22-23 is related, you had not reported the sales. In that case, you need to put the consolidated figure. You need to put the invoice words adjustment in your October month return or September month GSTR 1 return related to outward supply, and you need to put the same in your GSTR 3B return. One more request is that suppose for financial year 22-23, you are going to make a particular adjustment of 50,000 rupees. In that case, when you are going to make the adjustment in your GSTR 1 return, the same effect is to be given to GSTR 3B return as well. Don't wait for the next month. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप GSTR 1 में सितंबर में डाल रहे हो और 3B के अंदर उसको एडजस्ट अक्टूबर में जाकर के कर रहे हो. फर्क कुछ भी नहीं पड़ने वाला है. There is no any legal implications, but if there is any difference between your GSTR 1 and 3B, in that case system can automatically fetch your data and take your case in scrutiny, because there are certain parameters are also there. On that basis system are going to take the cases on scrutiny, so we need to be very much careful for that as well. Make RCM related adjustment in the GSTR 3B return. Suppose after audit, when you are going to check out the audit report, in that case you found there is certain expenditure on which reverse charge mechanism is to be applicable, but the taxpayer has not made the payment of taxes in the respective GSTR 3B return or in that particular relevant financial year. In that case, you can make the payment till September or October month GSTR 3B return and claim the input tax credit. That is what is also think available with us. Also, you need to prepare the RCM related reconciliation for that particular financial year, that as per the books of account, this is the figure on which RCM has to be paid by the taxpayer for the financial year 22-23. But as per GSTR 3B, the taxpayer has paid the tax under RCM on this particular figure. If there is any difference between these two figures, in that case, you need to make the necessary adjustment in the GSTR 3B of September or October month. That is what is the point from reverse charge mechanism. One of the most important thing, that is calculation related to rule number 42 and 43. What do you mean by that rule number 42 and 43? Anyone can give me the answer in the chat box that rule number 42 will be applicable in case of? Just comment me in the chat box. Yes, proportionate reversal of the common input tax credit. That is what is the applicability of rule number 42 and 43. Rule number 42 will be applicable in case of input and input service, and rule number 43 will be applicable in case of capital goods. Okay. Suppose I am a manufacturer. I am using certain products, I am using certain inputs, and in my manufacturing process there are multiple products. Certain products are exempted, certain products are taxable. In that case, I am using the कॉमन इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट. दैट इज एक ही तो रॉ मटेरियल है जो मैं मेरे टैक्सेबल में भी काम में ले रहा हूँ, एग्जेम्प्टेड में भी काम में ले रहा हूँ. इन दैट केस एग्जेम्प्टेड पे मुझे यहाँ पर इनपुट आउटपुट पे नहीं करना पड़ता. taxable पे I need to make the payment of taxes. For that purpose, we need to make the reversal of input tax credit on the basis of proportionate. So for that purpose, we need to take the help of rule number 42. And rule number 43, suppose there is a plant and machinery. From that plant and machinery, I am manufacturing the taxable as well as the exempt supply, or I am manufacturing certain personal use related supply or certain business use related supply. In that case, I need to proportionately reverse the input tax credit, and for that purpose, I need to take the help of rule number 43. So in this specific case, we are going to do the calculation on monthly basis as well. Taxpayer has done that calculation on monthly basis, or we are going to file the return. In that case, we had done that calculation on monthly basis. So now, when we are going to file the September month or October month GSTR 9 and 9C, GSTR 1 and 3B, in that case, this is our responsibility. We need to recalculate the figure, सो दैट जब हम उसके फिगर रिकैलकुलेट करेंगे, एट दैट टाइम अगर वहां पर कोई डिफरेंस है, वी कैन मेक द नेसेसरी एडजस्टमेंट इन द GSTR 1 and 3B रिटर्न ऑफ द September and October month. That is what is also an important thing. We need to be very much careful for that. बिकॉज जब हम लोग क्लॉज बाय क्लॉज एनालिसिस करेंगे ना, कई सारे वीडियोस अवेलेबल है मार्केट में क्लॉज बाय क्लॉज. अरे क्लॉज बाय क्लॉज एनालिसिस करने से पहले जो बेसिक थिंग्स है, वी नीड टू प्रिपेयर अवर सेल्फ. If my base is not ready, in that case, how I can put the figures in the GSTR 9 and 9C? Because वो तो ऑटो पॉपुलेट करके देता ही है, या तो वही फाइल कर लो, there is no problem with that. So for that purpose, we need to clear our basic concepts to file the GSTR 9 and 9C return in a proper way. Because यही तो वो मौका है जब हम हमारे सारे के सारे बुरे कर्मों को धो सकते हैं. In GSTR 9 and 9C, we are going to wash our all the बुरे कर्म्स. Yes, we need to calculate the same on monthly basis because we are showing the reversal on monthly basis in our GSTR 3B return. And once we need to do the annual basis, we need to do the same. So that if there is any difference, in that case, we need to make the necessary adjustment in the September or October month GSTR 3B return. And if we are not going to do the same, in that case, we need to put the same in the GSTR 9 return and show the same and reverse the input tax credit if any applicable. And if there is no reversal, suppose दोनों फिगर वहां पर सेम ही है ऑन एनुअल बेसिस ऑन एन मंथली बेसिस, इन दैट केस देयर इज नो रिक्वायरमेंट टू रिवर्स एनीथिंग. इज दैट ओके श्रुति जी? Yes, we need to do the reversal through DRC 03, but we can reverse through input credit ledger. Okay, just wait for a single second. Now check the bifurcation of input as blocked credit and ineligible credit. As per section 17 subsection 5, there are certain credit which are blocked as per section. Okay, related to construction, related to composition हो तो in that case your input is blocked under 17.5. Personal use वाली food beverages से related, motor vehicles से related input tax credit, they all are blocked under section 17 subsection 5. So you need to check the financial data, and as per that, if there is any blocked credit is available, in that case we need to check that input has already reversed or that input is not claimed by the taxpayer and shown in the GSTR 3B return. And if there is any figure missing while you are going to compare annually, in that case you need to put the same in the September or October month GSTR 3B return, or you may put the same in the GSTR 9 and 9C return. Next, check the data for late filing of return. Sir, you know, nowadays department is going to issue the GST ASMT 10 to many taxpayers. And in maximum of the GST ASMT 10, that is notice related to scrutiny of returns, the maximum reason, the multiple reason, उसमें से one reason is that due to late filing of return, the interest liability will be there. And due to that interest liability, there is chances that your case should be considered as a for scrutiny or business audit. So for that purpose, we need to check that for that relevant financial year, if there is any delay in filing the return, in that case, interest has already been paid by the taxpayer or not. And if there is non-payment of interest on account of delay in filing of return, in that case, we need to make the payment of interest during September or October month GSTR 3B return, so that it will be more convenient for us. Check the RCM figure and confirm the same with the audited financial statement. We had already discussed on that we are going to discuss on the audited financial statement, and when we are going to do the audited financial statement का analysis, at that time वहां पर जो भी terms हैं उन terms पे if there is applicability of RCM, in that case we need to check that RCM has already been paid by the taxpayer or not. And if there is pendency for payment of the RCM, in that case we need to make the payment in the September or October month return. Analyze all the income of audited financial and check that the same has been mentioned in the GST records we had already discussed. So these are the certain adjustments we need to do before filing our September or October month return. So we had covered our two para. In one para, we had discussed about the certain things which we need to know before filing the annual return, and second, we need to make certain adjustment in our September or October month GSTR 3B and GSTR 1 return. Now we are going to discuss on our third para. Before moving to our third para, just confirm me once that यहां तक सारी की सारी चीजें आपके लिए क्लियर है. ओके okay. काफी लोग रिकॉर्डेड देखेंगे तो रिकॉर्डेड वाले भी बोलते रहे कि हमको ये चीज क्लियर है, हमारे माइंड में कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर है. ओके, नाउ reconciliations helping hand for you. So we are going to discuss on certain important reconciliations which are also very much relevant before filing the GSTR 9 and 9C, because reconciliation plays a very important role in GST. So there are three very basic and very important reconciliation. One is output related reconciliation. You need to reconcile your sales from GSTR 1 return, from GSTR 3B return, and your books of account. If there is any difference, in that case, you need to make your GSTR 1 and 3B related outward supply as per your books of accounts, because your books of account is the final. Okay, so you need to make that, you need to make sure that your books data is reconciled with the GSTR 1 and 3B. In case of input reconciliation, you need to prepare the reconciliation from the GSTR 3B return, GSTR 2B return, and the books of accounts related input tax credit. And if there is any difference, in that case, you need to ensure that your input in your GSTR 3B return should be as per books of account, and the same is to be reconciled with the GSTR 2B return. Okay. RCM related reconciliations, your RCM related liability as per books of account should be reconciled with the RCM related figures as per GSTR 3B return. And if there is any differences, in that case, you have the option, you can make the necessary adjustment in your September or October month return, or you can make the necessary adjustment in the GSTR 9 and 9C return. Also, you need to have the reconciliations related to reversal on account of rule number 42, 43 and blocked credit related reconciliations should be there, so that with help of those reconciliations, we can easily file the GSTR 9 and 9C, and also we can ensure ourselves that the complete things are perfect. Okay, now our fourth para. Are you ready to prepare the data for filing the annual return? So for that purpose, मैं फिजिकल भी सेमिनार लेता हूँ एंड वर्चुअल भी लेता हूँ. तो उसके अंदर हम लोग एक एग्जांपल देते हैं कि अगर हमको कोई वॉर पे जाना होता ना, तो बिफोर स्टार्टिंग द वॉर वी नीड टू रेडी अवरसेल्फ विथ वेपन्स. हमारे पास में हथियार होने चाहिए. अगर हथियार नहीं होंगे, इन दैट केस वी कैन नॉट गो फॉर द वॉर एंड वी कैन नॉट इफेक्टिवली कंक्लूड दैट वॉर, और उसकी विनिंग के चांसेस बहुत कम हो जाएंगे. टू फाइल GSTR 9 and 9C is also not less than a war. So for that purpose, we need to ready ourselves with certain document, with certain data. और जब हमारे पास में वो data होगा, वो basic things होगा, in that case we can start our work on GSTR 9 and 9C on a very smoothly basis. So first we need to ready with the audit report. So before starting the audit, before starting the work on GSTR 9 and 9C, we need to have the audit report for the relevant financial year. And if for a particular entity audit is not applicable, in that case, you need to check the annual financial statement, and based on that, the ITR. Keep ready all the reconciliations. We had discussed on 4 type of reconciliations: output related, input related, RCM related, and reversal calculation related. So before filing the GSTR 9 and 9C, and before starting the work on GSTR 9 and 9C, you need to ready your reconciliations. Check all the notices issued by the department during the relevant period. Suppose you are going to file the annual return of financial year 22-23. In that case, you need to check all the notices which is issued by the department in form GST A7010 DRC01. All those notices we need to check. और उसकी कोई फैक्ट एंड फाइंडिंग है, उसके बेसिस पे कोई एडजस्टमेंट हो रहा है, इन दैट केस वी नीड टू चेक दैट ऑल द नेसेसरी एडजस्टमेंट्स हैव ऑलरेडी बीन डन बाय द टैक्स पेयर और नॉट. Check the electronic credit ledger and electronic cash ledger when you are going to check the ECL, both the ECLs for the relevant financial year. In that case, you get the idea that if there is any reversal, if there is any refund related matter, in that case, you can take the idea from that electronic credit ledger and cash ledger. Keep ready all the refund calculation working. Although refund calculation working is optional in form GSTR 9 return, but this is my humble request to you, this is my suggestion to you, that you are going to file the return of a taxpayer and the taxpayer has already claimed the refund under GST. Whatever will be the structure, inverted duty structure, under export, under bond, LUT, whatever will be the structure, but you need to ready with the refund calculation. You need to put the data in the GSTR 9 return so that your return will be in a perfect way. Keep ready the consolidated GSTR 1 and 3B return generated from the books of accounts. Each and every accounting software is going to generate the GSTR 1 and 3B return on consolidated basis. You need to take that consolidation so that you can easily compare the annual data from the GST returns. Keep ready the creditors ledger so that you get that idea that the taxpayers make the payment within 180 days to all the taxpayers. और अगर वहां पर कोई पेंडेंसी है, इन दैट केस आप अपने क्लाइंट को बोल सकते हो कि या तो तू पेमेंट कर दे, या फिर है ना भैया, वी आर गोइंग टू रिवर्स द इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट. बिकॉज जब लिटिगेशन के टाइम पे, बिजनेस ऑडिट के टाइम पे, जब डिपार्टमेंटल अथॉरिटी इज गोइंग टू रिवर्स दैट इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट ऑन अकाउंट ऑफ नॉन पेमेंट विद इन 180 डेज, इन दैट केस योर क्लाइंट विल से यू दैट आपने भी तो 9 और 9C फाइल किया था, आपको पता नहीं चला क्या कि यहाँ पर क्रेडिटर्स की रिवर्स करनी है. So we need to give our professional services in a best way. Income and expenditure related ledgers also we need to check so that we can get the idea that ये income and ये expenditures है on which GST has been already paid by the taxpayer or not. So these are the things, these are the 4 paras we need to keep ready with us before filing the GSTR 9 and 9C and before start our working on the GSTR 9 and 9C. अब ये जो हमने डिस्कस किया है अभी 45 मिनट्स का, 40 मिनट्स का, when you are going to file the GSTR 9 and 9C, and we are going to discuss on 9 and 9C as well, clause by clause with practical aspects. In that case, you will found that with this discussion, the later on discussion will be very easy. The discussion on GSTR 9 and 9C will be very easy. So just comment me once that यहाँ तक सारी की सारी चीजें आपके लिए ओके है. And if you have any question, if you have any doubt, that you are free to raise in the chat box. And if there is no question, in that case, put that your concept is okay. I am expecting reply from each and everyone so that we can start our discussion on our. Yes, we'll share you the Excel format as well. You just need to mail me. We will send you the Excel reconciliations as well. Or you can WhatsApp me so that we'll share you the Excel reconciliation. Sir, the basic part is okay for everyone. And if any doubt is pending, in that case, please put the same in the chat box. Mail ID I have shared. Also, I have shared my WhatsApp number as well. The office WhatsApp number I have shared. If there is any difference in your B2C, that means you want to declare the unregistered outward supply. Yes, in that case, you may make the adjustment in the GSTR 9 return. There is no problem with that. You may show the same in GSTR 9 return. As well as you may say show in the September month or October month return. There is no any confusion. You just need to raise your unregistered outward supply in your GSTR 3B return as well as in your GSTR 1 return, so that both will reconcile. Suppose for in your October month return, you want to increase the sales related to unregistered supply for the financial year 22-23. In that case, you just need to click and put that same in the GSTR 1 and 3B return of the October month return, so that the both will be reconciled, and you just need to put in the GSTR 9 return that related to financial year 22-23. We had made that adjustment in the next financial year. We'll discuss on that clause as well. Yes, you may ask with that particular question as well. So for that purpose, you just need to put one message on my WhatsApp number so that we can discuss separately. Okay. If you have any professional query, then you are free. I have already shared the office WhatsApp number. You may connect over that. So now we are going to start our discussion on the practical filing of GSTR 9 and 9C. Okay. We are going to discuss clause by clause analysis of the GSTR 9 and 9C. So with that, we are also going to take the practical examples so that it will be more convenient for you. And when we are going to discuss clause by clause, if you have any question, if you have any doubt on a particular clause related to the practical situation, you may comment in the chat box so that we may take that point as well with that clause. Okay, and post session जब आप इसको go through करोगे, at that time if you found any issue, in that case also you may connect with me over WhatsApp. We may take that query in our tomorrow's session. So GSTR 9, a practical guide. The GSTR 9 format collects a broad range of information about the taxpayer's inward and outward supply ITC tax paid. Other factors affecting tax liability for the years. Let's take a look at what you need to enter in the different fields in each of the 6 parts. So our GSTR 9 is distributed in 6 part. Okay, we need to provide the data in 1-to-1 part. So we are going to discuss on our first part, that is basic details, and these basic details are auto populated from the your registration particulars. Okay, but we need to check. Suppose कोई बंदा नया आया मेरे पास में, जो मुझसे रेगुलर मेरा GSTR 1 और 3B का काम नहीं करवाता है, GST का काम नहीं करवाता है. If a new client is coming to you and saying, sir, please file my GSTR 9 and 9C return, in that case we need to check the basic data as well. that this basic data is in correct format or not, and the basic data is correctly mentioned as per the PAN card and basic KYC document of that person. Okay, because as a professional there are multiple implications on us as well, so we need to check that data as well. So in the basic part, financial year will be there for financial year 22-23. So the financial year 22-23 will be there, GSTN will be there, legal name will be there, and trade name will be there. Legal name will be the same as per the PAN card, and trade name will be the name of the business. Okay, so this is the basic data. We are not going to discuss on that in detail. This will be auto populated in the GSTR 9 return. Now we are going to start our discussion on the clause by clause analysis of the GSTR 9 return. So the part 2 is discuss about the details of outward and inward supply declared during the financial year. That means part 2 of the GSTR 9 ke andar we need to provide the data which we had already submitted, which we had already filed with our GSTR 1 and 3B return ड्यूरिंग द रिलेवेंट फाइनेंशियल ईयर. दैट मीन्स जो भी मैंने मेरे फाइनेंशियल ईयर 22-23 के अंदर जीएसटीआर 1 और 3 भी फाइल किए हैं, उन सब का डेटा यहाँ पर पार्ट 2 के अंदर आने वाला है, एंड दिस विल बी ऑटो पॉपुलेटेड. बट you have the opportunity, you can change that data according to your books data. This opportunity is also available here, because in many times your outward supply related data is coming from the GSTR 1 return, the consolidated GSTR 1 return. And many times we find that the data which is available on the GSTR 1 return and the data auto populated in the GSTR 9 return, there is huge difference between these two data. So before you start working on the GSTR 9 return, you just need to confirm that your outward related data is to be auto populated from your GSTR 1 return. For that purpose, you just need to generate the consolidated GSTR 1 return from the GSTN common portal. Now question is that how we can generate the consolidated GSTR 9 return. For that purpose, when you are going to log into GSTN portal and we are going to when you are going to click on the annual returns GSTR 9, in that case ऊपर आपको वहां पर टैब मिल जाते हैं consolidated GSTR 3B, consolidated GSTR 1. So you need to download these two consolidations. Okay, from that GSTR 1 consolidated data, you just need to confirm that the data auto populated in the outward supply is same as per the GSTR 1, consolidated GSTR 1. And for input tax credit, you need to confirm that input tax credit related data which will auto populated in the GSTR 9 return is from the GSTR 3B return. For that purpose, you can check the data from the consolidated GSTR 3B downloaded from the panel. So that is what is the thing we need to do before starting our work on the GSTR 9 and 9C. Now, in this table, this is the part 2. In this table, you will find out the complete detail about the outward supply. Okay, so the first point, detail of advances, inward and outward supply on which tax is payable as declared in the returns filed during the financial year. That means यहाँ पर वो सारे के सारे फिगर आ जाएंगे जो आपने पुट किए हैं while filing the returns during the relevant financial year, that is financial year 22-23. Here you will find out the supply made to unregistered person. Suppose during that particular financial year, you had made a supply of 50 crore rupees to the unregistered person. In that case, the taxable value CGST, SGST, IGST and cess will be there. The second column is your supply made to registered person. If there is any supply made to registered person, in that case, the same will be there. Now, question is that, सर जो बेसिक पार्ट है ना, मैं उसके ऊपर ज्यादा डीप में डिस्कस नहीं करूंगा. जो टेक्निकल पॉइंट्स है आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस ऑन दैट. और कुछ क्वेश्चंस जो आपके दिमाग में चल रहे होंगे, मैं उन क्वेश्चंस पे बात करूंगा. और उसके बाद भी अगर कोई क्वेश्चन पेंडिंग रह जाए, इन दैट केस यू आर फ्री टू रेज द सेम इन द चैट बॉक्स. नाउ sir, question is that when I was filing my GSTR 1 return and GSTR 3B return, at that time when I was filing my GSTR 1 return, at that time, I had shown unregistered sales as 50 crore rupees and registered sales as 100 crore rupees. ना हुआ क्या, वहां पर कोई रजिस्टर्ड पार्टी है वो अनरजिस्टर्ड हो गई, या फिर कोई अनरजिस्टर्ड पार्टी है वो रजिस्टर्ड हो गई. There is a situation in that case one unregistered party has converted into registered and one registered party has converted into unregistered, and there is mismatch in these two figures because in GST records you had not made any changes. So for that purpose your unregistered will be unregistered, your registered will be registered, but as per your books of accounts there is certain changes in your registered and unregistered figure. Suppose this is the data of your books of account, this is the data of your GSTN portal. Now as per your books unregistered sales is 50.20 crore and your registered sales is 99.80 crore. In that case you need to put here the data as per your, you need to put the data here as per your books of accounts. So you can change the data, you can interchange the data because उससे यहाँ पर कोई भी total value में कोई भी difference आने वाला नहीं है. You are just going to putting interchanging the figures, okay, to registered to unregistered and unregistered to registered. So if there is any difference only on account of that interchange, in that case you may make that changes in this tab as per your books of accounts. बट ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि अगर आपकी कोई सेल्स 50 करोड़ से 55 करोड़ हुई है and you had reported the same during the next financial year till September or October month, in that case we are going to report the same in our next columns. Now the point is that if there is any interchange उससे टोटल में कोई इफेक्ट नहीं आ रहा है, if there is such type of change, in that case you may make the changes as per the books of accounts in the relevant columns. Is that okay? This point is okay because कई बार मल्टीपल टाइम ये वाला क्वेश्चन आता है, hence I am repeating again and again. This point is okay. Now next, zero rated supply export on payment of tax except supply to special economic zone. As we all know there are two type of export. सर व्हेन आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस ऑन द क्लॉज बाय क्लॉज और वहां पर कोई स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट आता है या फिर प्रोविजन आता है तो उससे रिलेटेड जो प्रोविजन ऑफ लॉ है वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस ऑन दैट एज वेल, सो दैट वो कॉन्सेप्ट भी आपके दिमाग में क्लियर हो जाएंगे. अगर कोई चीज मिसिंग भी है तो वो वाली भी आपकी क्लियर हो जाएगी यहाँ पर कि वो चीज कहना क्या चाह रही है. और अगर कहीं पर मैं उस चीज को मिस कर दूं, इन दैट केस यू हैव दिस राइट, यू मे आस्क द सेम इन द चैट बॉक्स. सो देयर आर टू टाइप ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट्स आर देयर. Please comment in the chat box. What are the two type of exports are there? This is the very basic question. So these are the product and services. I am talking from the types of export. So if I am going to make any supply to special economic zone, in that case, that will not be covered under the definition of export. So this is not in a type of export. That will be covered under the definition of zero rated supply, but that will not be covered under the definition of export. Yes, SEZ means deemed export, but that will be covered under the definition of zero rated supply. That will not be covered under the definition of exports. I am asking these questions, the logic behind that. अगर यहाँ पर कोई कॉन्सेप्ट है तो वो कॉन्सेप्ट भी हमारे साथ के साथ क्लियर होते चले. So there are two type of exports are there. One is with payment of tax, that is IGST, and another is without payment. Under bond, सर मेरा रिप्लाई भी सही है ना, कई बार मैं भी रिप्लाई है ना गलत लिख देता हूँ। सो आप लोग भी एकदम जाग करके ये सेशन देखें, ताकि अगर आपको लगे कि कुछ गलत लिख रहा हूँ, इन दैट केस आप मुझे भी बोले, है ना। So there are two type of exports are there. One is with payment of tax, that is IGST, and another is without payment of tax under bond or LUT. So if there is any export with payment of tax, that is IGST payment, in that case we need to report the same here in the C tab. Okay. हेंस यहाँ पर देखो CGST और SGST डिसेबल कर रखे हैं. द लॉजिक बिहाइंड दैट, देयर इज नो एनी फिगर रिलेटेड टू CGST एंड SGST बिकॉज इन केस of export, IGST will be applicable with payment of tax, and which will be automatically credited that IGST amount to your bank account if your GSTR 3B and 1 is reconciled. This is the part of refund, but मैंने यहाँ पर कवर कर लिया. So here you need to put the taxable value, and here you need to put the export related supply. Okay, and the figure is to be taken from the GST records. जो आपने अपने GSTR 1 and 3B में डिक्लेयर किए हैं, you need to put that record here. Next, supply to special economic zone on payment of the taxes. If you are going to make any supply to special economic zone, special economic developer, in that case, if you are going to do that as SEZ supply with payment of taxes, SEZ supply is also two types, with payment of taxes, without payment of taxes. So in that case, if your SEZ supply is covered under the with payment of taxes, in that case the same will be reflected here. You need to put the taxable value, you need to put the IGST figure. Now your deemed export is there. Deemed export is also considered as merchant export. Deemed export. Suppose I am a manufacturer, Sachin is a manufacturer. यहां पर एक रोशन जी है, they are going to make the export of the products. ओके, रोशन जी मेरे पास में आया कि सचिन जी आई वांट टू टेक दिस पर्टिकुलर प्रोडक्ट फ्रॉम यू, एंड ये प्रोडक्ट आई एम गोइंग टू एक्सपोर्ट, दैट इज आई एम गोइंग टू सेल दिस प्रोडक्ट आउटसाइड इंडिया. फॉर दैट पर्पस, Sachin ji, you need to use a reduced rate, a concessional rate of GST on that particular supply, because that will be covered under the deemed export, and the rate of GST will be 0.10%. If there is any such type of supply, and if any supply which I am going to make under advance authorization, in that case also the same will be treated as the deemed export. We need to report the same in the GSTR 9 return here. So this will be the deemed export. When a manufacturer, when a trader is going to sell the product to the exporter, in that case that will be covered as deemed export, and the rate of GST will be 0.10%. For that purpose, we need to take certain documents from that exporter as well. This is not the part of our this discussion. So I am just going to take this example, and through that example, we had cleared the concept of the deemed export. So that is what is the definition. Next point. Advances on which tax has been paid but invoices has not been issued. As we all know, there are two type of advances are there. मैं ही लिख दूं क्या एडवांसेस के टू टाइप्स? On account of goods, on account of services. There are two type of advances are there. One is on account of goods, another is on account of services. So whenever there is advances on account of goods, in that case there is no GST. Okay, in case of goods, there is no applicability of GST. We need not to pay any GST on account of advances for the goods. But if there is any advances on account of services, suppose I want to, I am going to supply my consultancy services to a particular person, and that person is given me certain advances, suppose 1 lakh rupees for my consultancy. In that case, that advance is to be covered on account of the services. So when I had received that advance, at that time I need to pay the GST. That means GST will be applicable in case of advances on account of services for that purpose, for that particular financial year, that is financial year 22-23. If a taxpayer has made the payment of taxes on account of advances, in that case we just need to report the here for which invoices has not been issued. बिकॉज इनवॉइसेस तो हम लोग फाइनल कंप्लीशन के टाइम पे इश्यू करेंगे, या फिर जब सर्विस कंप्लीट हो जाएगी उस टाइम हम लोग इश्यू करेंगे. यहाँ पर पहले कोई इनवॉइस नहीं है. सो इन केस ऑफ सर्विसेज एडवांसेस पे यहाँ पर जीएसटी एप्लीकेबल हो जाएगा. इनवर्ड सप्लाई ऑन विच tax is to be paid under the reverse charge mechanism. We all know that as per section number 9 subsection 3 of CGST Act, there is an list is available for the goods in which the 7 items are covered, and there are a list is available for the services. All those goods and services which are mentioned under section number 9 subsection 3 are covered under the definition of reverse charge mechanism. That means on that particular supply, taxpayer has to make the payment of taxes on reverse charge basis. Okay, we all know that there are two type of tax mechanism are there. One is forward charge and another is reverse charge. Generally there is a forward charges tax is there, but as per section 9 subsection 3 of CGST Act, there are certain goods and certain services on which reverse charge will be applicable. And as per section 9 subsection 5 of CGST Act, that is related to e-commerce apparatus related provisions, वहां पर भी reverse charge mechanism applicable हो जाते हैं. So based on those sections, if there is any applicability on reverse charge mechanism and the tax has already been paid in the GSTR 3B return and input has already been claimed, in that case we need to show the same figure here. Suppose take one practical situation on reverse charge basis. I have an liability to pay the tax on reverse charge basis, and I have paid the tax in GSTR 3B return for 1 lakh rupees, on which CGST is 2500 and 2500, 2500. But suppose I had claimed, because as per the provisions of reverse charge mechanism, this is the concept of self invoicing. That means taxpayer has to make the payment of taxes under RCM, and taxpayer can claim input tax credit of that payment of taxes. So in that case, suppose यहाँ पर मैंने RCM में जो पेमेंट किया वो 1,02,500 2,500 था, but I had claimed the input tax credit for 2,000 only in the GSTR 3B return. तो यहाँ पर कई लोग पूछते हैं कि सर जब मैंने 2-2 हजार रुपए का ही इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट क्लेम किया बट पेमेंट 2,500 किया, इन दैट केस आई नीड टू शो हियर 2,000 और 2,500. सो as we had already discussed that in this particular table जो भी हम लोग शो करेंगे वो already data declared in the return filed during the financial year, and during the financial year you had shown this particular figure in the GSTR 3B as tax payable under reverse charge mechanism. So you need to put here 1,02,500 2,500. Whatever data you had filed in your GSTR 1 and 3B return, you need to put here. So यहाँ तक registered supply, unregistered supply, zero rated supply, special economic zone with payment deemed export, advances on account of supply of services, and inward supply liable under reverse charge. These all paras are okay for you, or you require certain practical example, or if you have any example, in that case you may comment in the chat box. So please confirm me once. I am expecting reply from each and everyone. Please reply on fastest basis because we have a lot of content and we need to cover the same in 2 days. Okay. Now, अभी तक हम लोगों ने we had already discussed on the data related to the supply. Now, if there is certain adjustments related to debit and credit note, suppose for reducing the outward liability, there is credit notes are there. For enhancing the outward liability, there is debit notes are there. For that purpose, if the taxpayer has issued the debit and credit note, in that case, we need to put the figure in that tables. If there is any debit note, if there is any credit note, in that case, we need to put the figure here. Now, question is that suppose यहाँ पर in these fields, I just need to put the debit and credit note related figures which we had filed in our GSTR 1 and 3B return. Okay, कोई ऐसा debit और credit note है for which we had shown the same in the GSTR 3B and 1 return after that particular financial year. In that case, we are not going to put here because we are just going to put the debit and credit note related figures here, which we had already reflected in the GSTR 1 and 3B return of the relevant financial year. Now, next point, supply tax declared through amendments and supply tax reduced through amendment. These are the two important points are there and many people has many confusions related to that. Anyone is there, कोई ये बता सकता है कि ये supply tax declared through amendment में मुझे कौन सा figure यहाँ पर reflect करना है? Anyone is there who can provide me the answer that in this particular column we need to show which figure? Supplies tax reduced through amendment and supplies through declared through amendment. Yes, debit note can be uploaded in GSTR 1 return if the same is related to your supply. Suppose you has received any interest commission and you are going to issue the debit note. In that case, we need to issue the same. One more example is there. Suppose I had made a sales to Mr. X. Okay. In that case, there is delay in payment of payment. In that case, I am going to impose interest over that person. And interest is also my income. I need to pay the GST on that because this is the trade interest. So in that case, I need to charge GST on that. So I have option. I can issue the debit note related to interest as well. Is that okay? Sir, my question is that amendments, supply tax declared through amendment and supply tax reduced through amendment, यहाँ पर कौन से figure आएंगे? If anyone has answer, then you have 1 minute to provide the answer. If there is no answer, in that case, we'll discuss. गलत भी होगा तो चलेगा. I just want the wrong replies. There is no issue with that. गलत होगा तभी तो we are going to correct the same. So, in these two points, that is supply declared through amendments and supply reduced through amendments related to outward supply. These are the 2 points. श्रुति जी, मीनिंग वी नो. कौन सा फिगर हमको यहां पर पुट करना है? तो चलो हम लोग डिस्कस कर लेते हैं इसको. सप्लाई टैक्स डिक्लेयर थ्रू अमेंडमेंट. सपोज you had reported sales of 10 lakh rupees for a particular financial year, that is financial year 22-23, but actual mein as per books of accounts your sales is 11 lakh rupees. You had not reported that 1 lakh rupees ki sales from your April 23 till October 23. That means the timeline as per 16 subsection 4. Now, while filing the GSTR 9 return, you get that idea that there is less shown of outward supply in the GSTR 1 return for the relevant financial year, and we had not adjusted the same till the October month return. So we need to adjust the same in our GSTR 9 return. If there is any declaration for the outward supply which you had not made till October month return, in that case you can make those amendments here. That means अगर मैं conclusively एक लाइन में आंसर दूं, ऐसे एडजस्टमेंट आउटपुट से रिलेटेड जो अभी तक आप लोगों ने नहीं किए हैं, यू हैड नॉट दोस टाइप ऑफ एडजस्टमेंट विच यू हैड नॉट डन टिल your annual return, in that case you may make those adjustment in your annual return in these K and L tab. जब मैं बात करूंगा सप्लाई डिक्लेयर्ड थ्रू अमेंडमेंट, व्हेन यू वांट टू इंक्रीज द आउटवर्ड सप्लाई, इन दैट केस यू नीड टू मेक द पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्सेस थ्रू DRC 03. But suppose I had reported the 10 lakh sales in my GSTR 3B and 1 return for the relevant financial year. But as per books of accounts, the sales is 9 lakh rupees. I had not adjusted the same till October month return. If I want to reduce the same in my GSTR 9 return, in that case, I need to put here that 1 lakh rupees. But उसके आउटपुट पे जो रिडक्शन हो रहा है उसका कोई भी बेनिफिट आपको नहीं मिलेगा. दैट मीन्स यू आर नॉट eligible to claim any reduction in your outward supply. That means you are not eligible for any refund of that amount. You are just going to put here this figure to reconcile the figure from the GSTR 9C return and to reconcile the figure from your books of accounts. That is what is the logic. And if you are going to declare any supply in these steps, in that case also counterparty will not get any benefit from that. You are just going to do this for the purpose to reconcile the figure from the books of accounts. You are just going to reflecting these figures to properly file your GSTR 9 return. That is what is the logic. So these 2 points are clear for each and everyone. सबको reply देना है. और अगर आपके पास में कोई doubt है, in that case you need to ask that point as well. Is that okay? Shruti ji, Roshan ji, is that okay for you? Suraj ji is also there. Mansi ji is also there. Okay, so in the next step, you will find out the total of these things. This will be auto populated. There is no issue with that. अगर आप यहाँ पर डेटा सही से fill कर रहे हो, if you are going to put Roshan ji, we had discussed that if there is any supply on which you had not declared the same in your GSTR 1 return and 3B return in that relevant particular financial year, and you had not make those adjustment till the October month return. That means suppose there is any sales which you had reported in your GSTR 3B return as a 10 lakh rupees, but as per your books of account the sales is 11 lakh rupees, but you had not reported the same in the relevant financial year until 30th, that is October month return. In that case you may make those adjustment, you may show that amendment in the sales in this figure. Okay, ऐसा कोई भी एडजस्टमेंट जो आज तक आप लोगों ने नहीं किया है, in that case you may make that adjustment in the GSTR 9 return related to outward supply in these particular things. This is manual. ऑटो पॉपुलेटेड कैसे आएगा when you had not made any adjustment in your GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B return and you had not make any adjustment till the 30th October, that is October month की रिटर्न की डेट तक आपने कोई भी एडजस्टमेंट नहीं किया है, in that case the figure will not be auto populated here. You need to put that figure. Is that okay? But system क्या करता है, when you are going to check the auto populated GSTR 9, यहाँ पर system क्या करता है, suppose during the financial year if you had made any adjustment, if you had made any adjustment, suppose मैंने मेरी कोई invoice है, I had reported that invoice with 5 lakh rupees and next month I'd change that particular invoice to 5,50,000 rupees. In that case, in this tab, the amendment will be shown. But we need to manually put the data related to the adjustment which we want to made in the GSTR 9 return itself, so that the same will be reflected in the tax payable table. We'll discuss on that table as well. When we'll discuss on that particular table, you will get the idea that how this will work. Is that okay? Okay. Subtotal will be there, and this is the column in which you will find out the, this is the row in which you will find out the H plus M, that is this will and this will, all your outward supply, and with all your adjustment related to credit and debit note and amendment related adjustment, you will find out the final figure. Okay, and this figure will be reflected in your tax payable table. अगर मान लो मैं मेरे GSTR 9 में कोई सेल्स बढ़ाना चाहता हूं, इन दैट केस आई हैव द ऑप्शन, आई जस्ट नीड टू पुट हियर, जैसे ही मैं यहाँ पुट कर दूंगा वो वाला फिगर, तो मैंने मेरे GSTR 3B में जो पेमेंट किया है उसके अकॉर्डिंग मेरी टैक्स पेबल वाली टेबल फिल होने वाली है, और यहाँ पर ऑटोमेटिकली ये वाला फिगर बढ़ जाएगा. विल डिस्कस द एग्जांपल एट द टाइम ऑफ अवर डिस्कशन ऑन द टैक्स पेबल टेबल. ओके, अभी लोड ना लो, अभी बस इतना सा ध्यान रखना है, इफ देर इज एनी एडजस्टमेंट जो हमने GSTR 3B1 में नहीं किया है और अक्टूबर मंथ के रिटर्न तक नहीं किया है, इन दैट केस वी आर फ्री टू डू द सेम इन द GSTR 9 रिटर्न, बट the loss is that the counterparty will not get any benefit from that. Okay, so now here जो भी पॉइंट हम लोगों ने ऊपर डिस्कस किए हैं, we discussed on all the points, the description of all those points are here. Okay, so this is we had already discussed. I am just going to read out the language. Okay, and we'll also provide this e-guide so that it will be more easy for you as well. So supply is made to unregistered person. In this field, we just need to put the unregistered sales figure. Although this figure is auto-populated from GSTR1, but if there is any interchange in B2B and B2CS sales, then we need to put the figure from the books of accounts. बहुत ज्यादा इजी लैंग्वेज यूज करने का कोशिश की है ताकि व्हेन यू आर गोइंग टू यूज दिस ई गाइड व्हाइल फाइलिंग द GSTR 9 एंड 9C रिटर्न, यू कैन इजीली टेक द आइडिया ऑफ दैट. ओके, कोई टेक्निकल लैंग्वेज यहाँ पर यूज नहीं की है. Supply made to registered person. In this field, we just need to put the registered sales figure. Sir, you all are okay with Hindi na? Because I am going to use Hindi language as well. So this is convenient for you. You all are okay with Hindi. In this field, we just need to put the registered sales figure. Although this figure is auto-populated from the GSTR1, but if there is any interchange in B2B and B2CS, then we need to put the figure from books of accounts. Export zero rated supply for which tax has already been paid except the supply to SEZ. In this field, we need to put the export sales. With payment of IGST, there is no requirement to show supplies to special economic zone because a specific column or specific row is available for the SEZ supply. Supply to special economic zone on payment of tax. In this field, we need to show the figure about supply to special economic zone with payment of the taxes. Deemed export. In this field, we need to show the sales made as deemed export. Will further discuss the definition of deemed export at the end of our discussion, as well as in our practical we had already covered. Okay, advances on which tax has been paid but the invoices has not been issued, excluding those which have been mentioned in the above categories. As we all know that in case of supply of services, if there is any advance received, then we need to pay the tax on that advances. Hence, we just need to put the figures related to advance receipt on account of services in this tab. Purchase supply that are liable to reverse charge. As we all know that as per section number 9, subsection 3, 4 and 5, we need to pay the tax under reverse charge on certain supply. Based on those sections, if any purchase covered under the same, in that case, we need to report the same under this tab we had already covered. The subtotal of transaction will be auto-populated and the cumulative figure. Credit note related data. as we all know that adjustment of outward supply, we just need to issue the credit and debit note, and we are showing the same in our GSTR1 return, and the same has been auto populated in the GSTR1 return. The same will be applicable in case of debit note. Supply or tax declared through amendment. In this point, we need to show the adjustment we want to reflect in annual return itself. That is those adjustment which you had not shown till the time as per section 16 subsection 4. In that case, the same will be shown here. Output related increases, output related decreases, and these are the cumulative figure. This is the complete table number 4. Now, we are going to discuss our point on the table number 5. Before moving ahead, we have one question from Shruti ji. Shruti ji, you are asking that you want to reduce a particular invoice. Okay. So in that case, you are doing that adjustment till the October month return, or you want to adjust in the GSTR 9 itself. Just clear this situation. You are reducing that invoice till filing of the October month return, or you are making those reduction in your GSTR 9 return. Okay, you had not done that adjustment till your GSTR 9 return. You are doing that adjustment in the GSTR 9 return itself. Okay, in that case, you need not to put any invoice number, or you cannot adjust the same in your GSTR1 return. Okay, this is the first thing. You cannot adjust in the GSTR1 return. You just need to show the increase in the GSTR9 return in that particular amendment increase tab. Okay, and you need to prepare one working with you, because जब आप लोग GSTR 9 and 9C बनाते हो, in that case you need to prepare the file, और उस invoice से related if you are going to make that amendment, in that case you just need to ready that invoice. Okay, this was my old invoice and I want to increase that particular figure, and this is the increase, so that we need to put the same in GSTR 9, so that at the time of departmental audit, at the time of business audit, they can easily identify. अगर वहां पर कोई भी चीज का डिफरेंस होता है, in that case you just need to provide the supportings. Shruti ji, are you chartered accountant or from department? Because I am taking many sessions for the department. Okay, you are an article. Okay, no problem, not an issue. Good questions are there from your side. You are thinking from department perspective. So yes, we just need to ready each and everything for department. Okay, so for that purpose we need to have the reconciliations. Just there is requirement of that thing. Good. सो जो भी डिफरेंस हो, जो भी डिफरेंसेस वहां पर है, वेदर योर डिफरेंस इज रिलेटेड टू आउटवर्ड, वेदर द डिफरेंसेस इज रिलेटेड टू इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट, वेदर द डिफरेंसेस आर रिलेटेड टू द रिवर्स चार्ज मैकेनिज्म रिलेटेड पॉइंट्स, you just need to ready your reconciliations. If there is any difference, you just need to prepare the note on that. हर चीज आपके पास में लिखी हुई होनी चाहिए when you are going to file the GSTR 1 and 3B returns. Okay, your articles, your staff are going to file those return. In that case, you need to guide those person that prepare the reconciliation. You just manually note down. सर, हम सब लोग टेक्नोलॉजी इतने फ्रेंडली हो गए, फिर भी आज हमारे ऑफिस के अंदर जो जीएसटी के रिटर्न स्टाफ फाइल करता है उसकी वर्किंग मैनुअल है. We are going to note of that difference. If there is any difference, in that case we have a separate register for each and every party. We are going to put the same, so that if there will be any problem in future related to departmental audit and scrutiny, we just need to take that file and we just need to take the point month wise, so that we have the working. That is what you can put the same in Excel as well. Okay, there is no issue with that. So now, detail of outward supply on which tax is not payable as declared in return filed during the financial year. So now we are going to discuss on the exempted supply, the non-GST supply, which we need to show in our GSTR 9 return. बिकॉज अभी तक जो भी हमने बात की वो सारी की सारी सप्लाई, ऑल द सप्लाईज आर द टैक्सेबल सप्लाई ऑन विच द इम्प्लीकेशन ऑफ टैक्स इज एप्लीकेबल. But now we are going to discuss on certain supply on which tax is not applicable and tax is not payable due to exemption, due to non-GST, due to notifications. Okay. So now the first thing, zero rated supply export without payment of tax. हम लोगों ने discuss किया था, we had already discussed that there are two type of exports are there. One is with payment, another is without payment. So without payment export is under bond or LUT. In that case, if the taxpayer has made any supply without payment of tax, in that case we need to put here, okay, we need to put the consolidated figure. Supply to special economic zone without payment of tax. If a particular taxpayer is going to make any supply to special economic zone for authorized operation, in that case the same will be covered under the zero rated supply and there is no requirement to payment the tax. Now the problem is that how we can identify the authorized operation. I am talking from department perspective as well. So for that purpose, jo committee members of that SEZ are issuing certain operations, and in that particular sheet, if they authorize the operation and you had made the supply for those authorized operation, in that case the same will be covered under the zero rated supply, and that supply is to be shown here. As a auditor, as a tax consultant, we just need to take the figure from the GST data and the books of account and put here. Okay, we can do one additional thing. We can confirm that आप ये SEZ की supply show कर रहे हो, you had made that supply for authorized operation ना? We need to confirm that. Okay, supply on which tax is to be paid by the recipient on reverse charge basis. Suppose I am providing the GTA related services, or I am an advocate, I am providing the legal services. In that case, I need to show the same in my GSTR 9 return, but the tax is all paid by the counterparty, that is my recipient. So in that case, I need to put the taxable value IGST, CGST, SGST. Because in that case, the recipient is going to make the payment of taxes. I am not going to make the payment of taxes. If there is any exempted supply, in that case, we need to put here. Suppose your taxpayer is going to deal with the exempted as well as taxable supply. In that case, we need to put the exempted supply here. Exempted supply to be exempted through the notifications. There are various notifications are there for the exemptions. So for that purpose, we need to check the same. If there is a nil rate of tax on certain supplies through the notification, in that case we need to check. And if there is client is dealing with a nil rated supply, in that case we need to put here related to non GST supply, that is your 5 petroleum products, your alcoholic liquor for human consumption, your electricity related supply. In that case, all those supply will be covered under the non GST supply, and if your client is dealing in those particular supply, in that case we need to put the figure here. So these are the type of supplies, that is exempted supply, nil rated supply, non GST supply, export related supply. Now these are the parts of supplies. Now point is that हो सकता है इन सप्लाई से रिलेटेड मुझे कुछ रिडक्शन करना हो, सो फॉर दैट रिडक्शन पर्पसेस आई नीड टू इश्यू द क्रेडिट नोट. हो सकता है इन सप्लाई में मुझे कुछ एनहांसमेंट करना हो, फॉर एनहांसमेंट पर्पसेस आई नीड टू इश्यू द डेबिट नोट. सो if the taxpayer is issued any debit or credit note related to those supply, in that case we need to put those debit and credit notes here. And if there is any adjustment related to amendments which you had not done in the timeline as per section 16 subsection 4, that means those amendments which you want to do in your GSTR 9 return itself, in that case we need to put here. Okay, and the HNK will be there and the total will be there and total turnover will be there. Okay, now this is the table completely discussing about the exempted non-GST nil rated supply. Okay, now this table is okay because there is nothing important in that particular table. We just need to put the data from GSTR 3B return and GSTR 1 return, compare the same from books of accounts and put the data as per books of accounts. So this table, that is exempted nil rated non-GST wale table, is okay for everyone. Now we are going to read the language of the points as well. Export zero rated supply without payment of tax. In this point, we just need to put the figure of export without payment of tax, that is export under bond or LUT. For that purpose, we need to submit one declaration on the GSTN common portal. We all know this fact. Okay. Now, supply made to SEZ, that is Special Economic Zone for Authorized Operations. So we are not going to read out that particular language because we had already covered the same. Now, part number 3 of the GSTR 9 return. We'll discuss on that part number 3, and the balance part we'll discuss in our tomorrow's session. Okay. So in that ITC, as I am always saying that ITC is the heart of GST. Because as we all know, the maximum of the litigations are only due to input tax credit. भाई आउटपुट में क्या हो जाएगा, ज्यादा से ज्यादा वैल्यू सही से कैलकुलेट नहीं हुए, डिफरेंशियल आई एम रेडी टू पे, ज्यादा से ज्यादा प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई सही नहीं है, टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई सही नहीं है. बट इन केस ऑफ input tax credit, there are multiple filters are there. Before claiming the input tax credit, I need to check the applicability of section number 16 subsection 1. Then after section 16 subsection 2 की वो भरी लंबी चौड़ी conditions, we need to check that goods has already been received, invoices are there, to be में वो show हो रही है, और tax has already been paid, return has already been filed, all those conditions are there. Then after we need to check that the taxpayer has paid the amount to the supplier within 180 days. Then after we need to check कहीं वो input tax credit block तो नहीं है 17(5) के अंदर. Then after we need to check that the same is to be reflected in the GSTR to be written or not. कहीं ineligible input tax credit तो नहीं है. There are multiple filters are there, and due to those filters, this is very much quite important for us to check that ITC वाला part very carefully. Because many cases are there in which department are going to issue multiple notices on account of input tax credit itself. So we need to be very much careful from that perspective as well. Okay, so सबका ध्यान इधर. पार्ट नंबर 3 ऑफ द GSTR 9, पार्ट नंबर 1 जो हमने डिस्कस किया था, we had discussed about the basic detail which was auto populated on the GSTN common portal on your GSTR 9 return. Part number 2 was related to your outward supply. Part number 3 is related to your input tax credit. Okay, so part number 3 का point number 6A, the figure will be auto populated from the GSTR 3B return. Whatever data you had filed in your GSTR 3B return, your total ITC as per your GSTR 3B return will be there, including your RCM related reverse charge mechanism will be there. So the point is that in your GSTR 9 return, part number 3, table number 6 के point number A के अंदर, the input tax credit which you had filed or mentioned in your GSTR 3B return, the same will be reflected in your GSTR 9 return. That is what is the point. Okay, now this is the auto populated figure. Now you need to provide the bifurcation of that input tax credit which you had claimed in your GSTR 3B return. Bifurcation means input tax credit on account of forward charge, input tax credit on account of reverse charge. As we had already discussed, there are two mechanisms available under GST. One is forward charge, another is reverse charge. So in that case, you need to provide the bifurcation. Okay, this is the amount of ITC I had claimed under forward charge. This is the amount of ITC I had claimed under reverse charge. Also, you need to provide the bifurcation of input service and capital goods, that this amount of input tax credit I had claimed on account of input, this amount of input tax credit I had claimed on account of input service, and this amount of input tax credit I had claimed on account of capital goods. We need to provide that bifurcation as well in the GSTR 9 return. That is what is also the requirement. Okay, so the first point number A will be auto populated in the GSTR 9 return. Then point number B, inward supply. Other than import and inward supply liable to reverse charge, but include services received from the special economic zone. In this step, you need not to provide the data related to RCM, your import. You just need to provide the basic outward You just need to provide the basic outward related details. Okay, so in this tab, you need to provide the bifurcation of input service, and capital goods. For financial year 22-23, this is optional to provide the bifurcation of input and input service. You can provide the cumulative figure in the input tab. Okay, आप यहाँ पर input tab में वो जो है figure input and input service का provide करवा सकते हो. There is no requirement of bifurcation of input and input service separately. But for capital goods, you need to provide that figure here. एंड इन दैट कैपिटल गुड्स के अमाउंट के कैलकुलेशन में कुछ भी यहाँ पर है भी नहीं. यू जस्ट नीड टू चेक द फिक्स्ड असेट्स चार्ट ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर एंटिटी, एंड इन दैट फिक्स्ड असेट्स चार्ट इफ देयर इज एनी purchasing of capital goods, in that case you can say that there is a purchasing of capital goods. So the input tax credit you can take from the books of accounts and you can put the input tax credit here. So the bifurcation of capital goods में यहाँ पर कुछ है नहीं, और input और input service का you can provide the consolidated figure. Okay, so that is what is the point, the part number B, the point number B, in which you need to provide the bifurcation of input in input and capital goods. Okay, next point. Inward supply received from unregistered person liable to reverse charge mechanism. If you bought any particular product or services from an unregistered person and you are liable to pay the reverse charge mechanism as per section number 9 subsection 4 of CGST Act, in that case you need to provide that figure here. But the point is that the counterparty should be unregistered. ओके, बिकॉज रजिस्टर्ड के लिए यहां पर मेरे पास में एक सेपरेट कॉलम है. फॉर रजिस्टर्ड मुझे यहां पर शो करना है इनपुट, इनपुट सर्विस एंड कैपिटल गुड्स. Here the same principle will be applicable, that you need to provide the bifurcation of capital goods separately, but input and input service ka you can provide a consolidated figure. That is what is the option available with you. Okay, so inward supply received from the registered person liable to reverse charge we need to put here, and from unregistered person. Suppose I am taking certain GTA services from a transporter and the transporter is registered, but in that case I need to make the payment under reverse charge mechanism. So I am taking the services from registered person, I need to put figure here. But suppose I had taken certain services from the unregistered person. Suppose I had taken the legal services from an advocate who was unregistered under GST and for which I am going to make the payment of taxes under reverse charge mechanism. In that case, I need to put the figure here. Sir, difference clear है क्या reverse charge mechanism का? Registered and unregistered, because in many cases क्या होता है when departmental audits come and at the time of litigation या फिर when we are checking the GSTR 9 and 9C of the counterparty, कई बार हमको ये मिलता है कि यहाँ पर इंटरचेंज हो गया है, रजिस्टर्ड का अनरजिस्टर्ड में डाल दिया, अनरजिस्टर्ड का रजिस्टर्ड में डाल दिया. This will create an impact at the time of your litigation, so we need to be very much careful for that. Next, import of goods. As when we are going to import the goods, at that time we need to make the payment of taxes under reverse charge mechanism, and when we are making the payment of taxes under reverse charge mechanism of IGST, in that case we can claim that input tax credit. So if you had imported any goods, that is input and capital goods, in that case you need to provide the amount here. Next, import of services excluding inward supply from SEZ. If there is any import of services, suppose आपने outside India से कोई services import की है, in that case we need to make the payment of taxes under reverse charge mechanism. Okay, that is IGST, and we are eligible to claim that input tax credit again here. So that is what is the bifurcation of that amount. Input tax credit received from the input service distributor. You all know the term input service distributor. I need to discuss. Just comment me in the chat box. I need to discuss the term input service distributor. इस सेशन में माइक ऑन करवाने के लिए नहीं करवाने का बस एक ही पर्पज है. देयर इज ओनली वन रीजन, क्योंकि अगर माइक ऑन होता है ना तो उसकी वजह से क्या होता है, मैक्सिमम वॉइस डिस्टर्बेंस हो जाता है. फॉर दैट पर्पस वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू प्रोवाइड यू द फैसिलिटी टू ऑन योर माइक. ओके, विल ट्राई at the end of tomorrow session we have question and answer session on mic as well for 10 minutes. Okay, no problem. एक बार माइक ऑन करते ही वो वॉइस प्रॉब्लम की वजह से सारा डिस्कशन बहुत गड़बड़ हो जाता है, सो दैट वी आर नॉट प्रोवाइडिंग दैट पर्टिकुलर फैसिलिटी. Yes, we'll discuss. Input service distributor. Suppose Batu Consultancy and Networking Private Limited has a head office in Rajasthan, and Batu Consultancy and Networking Private Limited has various branches throughout the India, pan India. Okay, head office is in Rajasthan. We have branches in Gujarat, in Maharashtra. आप लोग कहीं से हो तो कोई स्टेट बोल दो, है ना. We'll take that as well. And Telangana, Jammu and Kashmir. So, head office is in Rajasthan. I have various branches in Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, that is Telangana and Jammu and Kashmir. In that case, suppose Batu Consultancy has bought certain capital goods, that is certain laptops, around 1 lakh rupees के लैपटॉप उसने बाय किए. 10 lakh rupees के लैपटॉप बटू कंसल्टेंसी हैज बॉट लैपटॉप फॉर 10 lakh rupees. दैट इज लैपटॉप फॉर a particular amount. The input tax credit is 10 lakh rupees on that particular laptop. Okay, and Batuk Consultancy is going to transfer those laptop to Gujarat, to Maharashtra, to Telangana, and to Jammu and Kashmir units. In that case, when Batuk Consultancy is going to transfer those products to their various branches, in that case there is requirement that Batuk Consultancy has to take the registration as a input service distributor, that is ISD. एंड जो भी उसने लैपटॉप बाय किए उसकी इनवॉइसिंग किसके नाम से थी? राजस्थान हेड ऑफिस के नाम से. द इनवॉइसिंग विद द नेम ऑफ हेड ऑफिस राजस्थान, एंड राजस्थान हेड ऑफिस इज गोइंग टू ट्रांसफर द इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट टू गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र, तेलंगाना एंड जम्मू कश्मीर. फॉर दैट पर्पस बटू कंसल्टेंसी राजस्थान हेड ऑफिस हैज टू टेक द रजिस्ट्रेशन एज अ इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, एंड आफ्टर दैट Batu Consultancy can transfer the input tax credit to various branches in the ratio of the turnover of those branches. Okay, so suppose the turnover is 25 lakh, 25 lakh, 25 lakh, 25 lakh, and the total turnover is 1 crore rupees. In that case, the input tax credit will be distributed in the ratio of turnover 2.5 lakh, 2.5 lakh, 2.5 lakh, 2.5 lakh. So suppose we are going to file the annual return of Gujarat, and in that case we need to put the figure in the GSTR 9 return here, that this amount, that is 2.5 lakh rupees, we had received as a input service distributor. From input service distributor we had received this amount from the input service distributor. Is that okay, Roshan ji, Siddesh ji? Input service distributor concept is okay. GSTR 6 is applicable in case of input service distributor. When the ISD is going to file the GSTR 6 return, the input will be auto populated in that, and if the taxpayer is going to claim that input tax credit, in that case we need to show the amount here. Amount of ITC reclaimed under the provision of the act. If there is any reclaim of the input tax credit, in that case we need to put the figure here. Suppose इन फिगर्स को छोड़ के, दैट मींस जो आपने जीएसटीआर 3B में इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट क्लेम किए, उसके अलावा इफ यू हैड क्लेम्ड एनी इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट, सपोज यू हैड मेड अ रिवर्सल ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट एंड इन नेक्स्ट मंथ और इन सब्सिक्वेंट मंथ you had reclaimed that input tax credit, in that case we need to show that particular figure here. These 2 points are the auto populated from the above calculation. Tran 1 and Tran 2 की credit is not relevant for us, okay, because already completed the Tran 1 and Tran 2. But if the taxpayer is claimed the transition related input tax credit, in that case that figure has to be shown here. In that case these are the auto populated figure, but there is any other ITC but not specified above. If there is any other ITC you had claimed but not specified above, in that case you can show here. Okay, so basically in your GSTR 9 return, you cannot claim the input tax credit. But if you want to reverse the input tax credit, in that case, there is facility available for the reversal of input tax credit. How we are going to reverse, where we need to show the reversal input tax credit, we'll discuss the same in our tomorrow's session. But in this input tax credit para, we had discussed the bifurcation of input tax credit, which we had claimed in the GSTR 3B return as input, input service, and capital goods. Also, we had discussed about the input tax credit related to the reverse charge mechanism and forward charge mechanism, input service distributor, import of goods, import of services, and the reclaiming of input tax credit. These are the points which we had covered in the table number, part number 3, table number 6. Is that okay? The input wala part is okay for each and everyone? So, in our today's session, we had started our discussion with the basics of GST. Okay, we had started our discussion of the basics of GSTR 9 and 9C, that what are the required documents we need to take care before filing the GSTR 9 and 9C, what are the relevant adjustment we need to do in our September and October month, which are the relevant reconciliations we need to prepare for filing the GSTR 9 and 9C return, which are the documents we need to ready with us before filing the GSTR 9 and 9C for filing of smooth filing of GSTR 9 and 9C. After that, we had started our discussion on the part number 1 of the GSTR 9, that is basic details, which was auto-populated. Then after, part number 2 was there related to the outward supply. We had discussed about the registered supply, unregistered supply, zero rated supply, supply to special economic zone, advances wala part on account of services, and the reverse charge mechanism. After that, we had discussed about the debit and credit note adjustment, and then after, we had discussed about the amendments which we want to do in our GSTR 9 and 9C return itself. That means those amendments on which we had not do any work at the time of filing of our GSTR 3B and 1 return until the timeline of section 16 subsection 4. After that, we had started our discussion on the various part on which GST is not applicable, that is taxable value on which GST is not applicable, that is exempted supply, nil rated supply, non-GST supply, zero rated supply, export without payment of tax, special economic zone को supply without payment of tax for authorized operation. And after that, we had discussed about the debit and credit note related to those supplies and the amendments. Okay, and then after, we had started our discussion on the table number 3, that is part number 3, table number 6, related to our input tax credit, the bifurcation of input tax credit as capital goods, input, input service, and the forward charge and reverse charge, input tax credit on account of import of goods, input tax credit on account of import of services received from input service distributor, tran 1 and tran 2 ki input tax credit. All those figures we had covered in our today's session. Sir, if you have any question, if you have any doubt related to our today's session, you are free to put the same in the chat box. Okay, and if there is no question, no doubt is pending, in that case, we are going to sign off for today's session. We'll meet tomorrow sharp at 8 a.m. Okay. So, and whatever will be your feedback, whatever will be your suggestions for our today's session, I am requesting to each and everyone, please provide your valuable feedback. Please provide your valuable suggestion for our today's session on my WhatsApp number. It will be the biggest reward for me. I have shared the WhatsApp number once again. You can provide your valuable feedback, your valuable suggestions for our today's session on the WhatsApp number. Okay. So also save this number, and I have one YouTube channel. We have one YouTube channel, so you can subscribe that YouTube channel, because on that YouTube channel there are around 150 videos are available on that YouTube channel related to various taxes and matters related to GST. So you can check that as well. Sir, the differences between table number 8 and 2B will discuss on tomorrow, because we have the next part is that only. Table number 8A and 2A. We'll discuss on that in our tomorrow session. Okay, very deeply we are going to discuss. We'll also share this e-guide to you on your registered mail ID by today or by tomorrow morning. So thank you everyone. We'll meet on tomorrow sharp at 8 a.m. We'll wait for your valuable feedback on the WhatsApp number. Okay. Thank you everyone.